Oops.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, and welcome to another episode of Bhagavatam for the intelligent, no, for the independently thoughtful. We're starting the Bhagavatam, we're starting the 7th canto, and we get to the point of some tension already manifesting between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. Yesterday please.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So, what happened before? We covered point 5. Hiranyakashipu had asked, what did you learn? What's the best thing? He used the word sadhu. What's the best thing you learned at school? And Prahlada Maharaja had given this answer. You can maybe go just quickly, 4 and 5. Nice t-shirt. This is from the Balaram Goshala in Villa Vrindavan, Florence.
So cute.
Okay.
Okay, 5 is
That's the answer. That's the answer.
Sadhumanye Suravalya Dehinam Sada Samudvikna Dhiyam Sadgrihat Hitva Atmapatam Grihaman Akupam Vanam Gato Yadharima Shrayeta. I learned this verse and I did Bhakti Vaibhav. And then I would try to remember the meaning of these verses. Manam gato yadharima shrayeta. I would always remember, go to the forest and take shelter of Vrindavan. Okay, yeah, this is, and then.
Oh, basically it says whoever is identified with the body, it should go. It should just.
Because the false identification with, oh, I am this body and this is my job and this is my relation, and to attach our sense of self-worth, to attach our sense of direction in life to those things which are not really us, but those are the things that we are experiencing. And so we need to go and take shelter of Vrindavan or Mayapur or the holy persons and holy places to overcome that false identification and come to the true sense of identity which Prahlada Maharaja already was well established in, which the previous verses said that even if the bad astrological periods are there, if we are established in self, we understand who we are and we don't misidentify our sense of, we don't connect our sense of identity with the temporary things, then no planet, no negativity can actually affect us. Because the soul cannot be burnt, cannot be, I mean, I'm saying all these things, but I'm thinking of the war and I'm thinking of all the people that are losing literally everything. So tough. Yet, right.
It's a place of misery and temporanity. And here we see the diametrically opposed moods of the father and the son, because the father is sending him to school these are disciples of Shukracharyas. So Chanda and Market must be very, very qualified. Imagine top Brahmanas, top Sanskrit, top everything in terms of material life. And but the point is attachment. The point is becoming a strong politician, a strong influence in the world, controller. And all what Prahlada Maharaja says is opposite. Leave everything and go to the forest. It's like opposite. So in this verse, next verse, 6, Narada Muni describes the reaction of Hiranyakashipu. Obviously, he wasn't happy at all.
Shri Narada Uvacha Shrutva putro giro daitya parapaksha samahitaha jahasa buddhir balanam bhidyate parabuddhibihi. Narad Muni continued. When Prahlada Maharaj spoke about the path of self-realization and devotional service, thus being faithful to the camp of his father's enemy, Hiranyakashipu, the king of demons, heard Prahlada's words and he laughingly said, "Thus is the intelligence of children spoiled by the words of the enemy." Insecure. Purport. Hiranyakashipu, being a demon, would always consider Lord Vishnu and his devotees to be his enemies. Therefore, the word parapaksha on the side of the enemy is used here. Hiranyakashipu never agreed with the words of Vishnu or Krishna. Rather, he was angered by the intelligence of a Vaishnava. Lord Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. But demons like Hiranyakashipu never agree to do this. Therefore, Krishna says, Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradamaha maya pahrita jnana suram bhavam ashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. The asura bhava, the atheistic nature, is directly represented by Hiranyakashipu. Such persons being mudha and naradhama, fools and rascals, the lowest of men, would never accept Vishnu as the supreme and surrender unto him. Hiranyakashipu naturally became increasingly angry that his son Prahlad was being influenced by the camp of the enemies. He therefore asked that saintly persons like Narada not be allowed within the residential quarters of his son, for otherwise Prahlad would be further spoiled by Vaishnava instructions. 1 minute, but he didn't even say Krishna or anything like that in the previous verse. He only just said materialistic life is bad. He didn't say anything about Vishnu yet.
No, the Harin Ashrayeta, taking shelter in Hari. So that was the conclusion of the verse. So definitely, why all this? We're going to just not to go to the forest. I mean, many people do trekking and things like that. His point is taking shelter in Vishnu. Is the volume of maximum? Huh? Yes.
It depends on them.
No, but for you, for our voice, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So number 7.
But it's very interesting that Prahlada Maharaj is speaking such depth.
Oh, we are not finished with 6.
No, we did. Oh, no. So I was saying Prahlada Maharaj is speaking so much depth. Like small child also, but still he's speaking so much depth. That must be shocking for Hiranyakashipu. No, I already done. 6 is done.
Okay, let's go.
Samya vidaraya tamabalo guru gehe dvijatibihi Vishnu pakshay praticanair na bhidyetasya dhira yataha. How do you say? Na bhidyetasya dhira yataha yatha. Hiranyakashipu advised his assistants, my dear demons, give complete protection to this boy at the Gurukul where he is instructed, so that his intelligence will not be further influenced by Vaishnavas who may go there in disguise. He's always anxious, right? Like Duryodhana, he was always anxious what the Pandavas are doing in the forest. He sent all these secretly spies to go and watch what Pandavas were doing. It's similar. He saw, oh, somebody will disguise and come and influence his little Prahlad. Nobody was influencing him. Prahlad himself was a great devotee. And he himself was influencing other boys, right? In our Krishna consciousness movement, the tactic of dressing oneself like ordinary karmi is necessary because everyone in the demoniac kingdom is against Vaishnava teachings. Krishna consciousness is not at all to the liking of demons of the present age. As soon as they see a Vaishnava dressed in saffron garments with beads on his neck and tilak on his forehead, they're immediately irritated. They criticize the Vaishnavas by sarcastically saying Hare Krishna, and some people also chant Hare Krishna sincerely. In either case, since Hare Krishna is absolute, whether one chants it jokingly or sincerely, it will have its effect. The Vaishnavas are pleased when the demons chant Hare Krishna because this shows that the Hare Krishna movement is taking ground. The greater demons like Hiranyakashipu are always prepared to chastise the Vaishnavas, and they try to make arrangements so that Vaishnavas will not come to sell their books and preach Krishna consciousness. Thus, what was done by Hiranyakashipu long ago is still being done. That way is the way of materialistic life. Demons or materialists do not at all like the advancement of Krishna consciousness, and they try to hinder it in many ways. Yet the preachers of Krishna consciousness must go forward in their Vaishnava dress or any other dress for the purpose of preaching. Chanakya Pandit says that if an honest person deals with a great cheater, it is necessary for him to also become a cheater, to become a cheater also. Not for the purpose of cheating, to make his preaching successful. This is very tricky though. Some devotees think that, some narcissistic devotees think that they can always lie and cheat for the sake of Krishna, and they always think what they are doing is Krishna conscious.
What's tricky? That we need to be careful how the cheating. Well, Srila Prabhupada here used cheating in the very light connotation. He's not talking. See, cheating, as every word can be used in a heavy way or in a light way. He's using a very light way. In other words, they say, okay, we are Vaishnava, but we may put aside the external symptoms of a Vaishnava so that we can enter into environments, into places, physical places, where otherwise they would not allow us to enter. So it's cheating in the lightest. It's not cheating like, okay, you tell lies. You're not telling lies. You're just presenting in a way that people may not immediately recognize. Oh, he's a Vaishnava, he's a Hare Krishna. So
you understand what I mean? Sometimes devotees could manipulate the newer people saying, I know better. And Prabhupada said it's okay to trick because I know what is Krishna conscious for you. I know how.
Of course, everything can be misused. Everything can be misused. One point I wanted to make, because this purport is really an example of that. In later cantos, starting mostly I would say in this canto, fourth canto, Srila Prabhupada talks much more about the ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So obviously, first canto, there was no ISKCON because he wrote it in India. And second, third, it's still very, very at the beginning. Now, fourth canto, ISKCON is becoming strong.
Wow.
And also the opposition is becoming strong. Therefore, you'd see in this canto often, this is seventh canto, so already, basically, I would say starting from the fourth canto, he talks more about ISKCON. In other words, his instructions are becoming more and more specific to ISKCON. Like here he says, he starts, in our Krishna conscious movement, the tactic of dressing ourselves like an ordinary karma is necessary, because everyone in the demoniac kingdom is against the Vaishnava teaching. So we see that Srila Prabhupada in this purpose almost make a commentary of the issues that the devotees were facing. That was an issue in ISKCON. Some people go to Srila Prabhupada and say, oh, we should dress like we shouldn't dress in dhoti because people will not stop, like something like that. And then some people say no, but we should. And then some later Srila Prabhupada say, well, I thought that people were becoming hippies again with long hair, and so I thought, no, that's not very good. But if they dress as nice gentlemen and ladies, it's fine. So there was this controversy, and kind of Srila Prabhupada here in the book kind of sets Of course, not in an absolute way, meaning there are so many different countries, so many different situations and environment, but he's approving that if people don't like Vaishnava dress and they feel repulsed by that, then no need the Vaishnava dress. Obviously, the element, the essence is the holy name. The essence is the Bhagavata philosophy. The essence is the message, is not the dress of the messenger. So Srila Prabhupada is establishing an important principle. Obviously, everything can be misused. So people may just see they were made as before the moment they may be very dressed very poorly, very broken clothes, very dirty, long hair, long beard, and they may just say, well, Srila Prabhupada to rise, we should look like the common people, and I'm looking like the common people. Yeah, but Srila Prabhupada many times expressed that he used this word up-to-date gentleman. In other words, it's not that just because you're dressing as anybody else or as a non-Indian clothes, then you are okay, because there are many people dressing in non-Indian or non-Vaishnava dress, but some are dirty, some are very much what you call spaced out, some are bizarre clothing, and not that people feel, wow, this person is very strange, and there are ways in which people, there is some clothing that people wear, and it's acceptable everywhere. It's clean, it's proper, it's decent, and so we need to understand this, not in Tamaguna, Rajaguna, but in Sattvaguna. What is the comment there?
Sometimes I felt some Western devotees I've met are more caught up in the dress, very much outward appearance, especially the Indian women's clothes, and their conduct is the opposite of what they're trying to portray. Like, you always say, so you can dress in a sari in a very sexy way.
That's also there, yes. Or you can dress in a sari, but have 20 kilos of ornaments, which may not be all necessary, and 5 kilos of cosmetics, which may not be all necessary, and it may give an impression that, okay, this person is saying, oh, we're not the body, but this person seems to she spends 7 hours taking care of her body. So, yeah, sometimes there is some what we call dissonance between the message and maybe the appearance. What's that?
Not even say, but it's like a kid playing dress up. Oh, sexy way. Not even sexy way, but it's like a kid playing dress up, taking from another culture as it's something new. Dress up. Oh, I think she means the Western people who get introduced to Indian clothes and all, they get into it like a fashion thing.
I'm not sure exactly what
but what you say,
expect what she's thinking exactly. Of course, it's like I give an example. Once there was a drama I think it was in New York, and Srila Prabhupada was there. And during the drama, devotees played guitar. And then one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, is it okay to play guitar? And then Srila Prabhupada answered, better guitar played nicely than sitar played poorly. In other words, it's not that something Indian has to be necessarily higher. We need to offer Krishna the best. And the best doesn't mean, okay, because it's Indian, it's superior. It doesn't mean that, especially if you are not able to present it nicely. So maybe you may say, oh, but sitar is more exotic, it's more oriental, guitar, it's a Western. No, but the nicely played guitar can bring devotion, can bring emotion, and a poorly played sitar may just feel, what are they doing? They're just imitating.
With food also.
Exactly.
Sometimes just because it's Indian, fried and ghee and this and that, but then we may be eating salad.
Read loud when people read, because
This is
not
what I
everybody
mean,
sees.
the Orientalism that kicks in.
Yeah. But please, when there is a comment, please read it loud, because not everybody looks at the chats, no?
Mm.
Some people cannot look at the chat, some people don't notice the chat, okay?
All right.
When there is a comment, let's read it loud so everybody, unless it's a private comment, of course. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we could talk the whole hour about this purport.
Realistic way of life.
But the point is, Srila Prabhupada make this preaching successful. In other words, we want result. We want that the movement is respected, that the books are circulated, that the books are accepted by academics, that our message is taken seriously, the devotees are taken seriously. This is different than depending on public opinion. No, one may say, "Oh, well, you're just depending on public opinion." No, public opinion and reputation. We want to have a good reputation, because without good reputation, our mission is very much affected negatively. If people think these people are crazy, or these people, I can't relate to these people, or they are fanatics, then where is the gain? So if dressing in a certain way, as respectful ladies and gentlemen, even somewhat elegantly, which doesn't mean flamboyantly, but no, in a clean way, then why not? Well, if that helps people respect us and take us more seriously, or have a dialogue with us, why not? Srila Prabhupada basically saying this.
She says there's more comments in the
Yeah,
chat
why
box.
don't you read loud everything?
Also, going back to misuse, I saw that a lot in India with missionaries, especially in poor areas. We will only build a toilet, etc., if you convert. Economics with religious strings, rather than just helping people because you want to. Like I'm in London, they do Food for Life for homeless, and it's given to everyone, regardless of if they follow or not in London. Next.
Next, if you like, next. Thank you for these comments.
This is a ISKCON initiative, good Food for Life. Yeah, good for life.
Sorry, no, London
For
mostly, I think it's food for all.
Yeah.
Parashur popular.
Okay.
Or food for all.
Great.
One difference, of course, is that when people accept the food, they already accepting Krishna in the form of prasada. So either they know or not, they're already kind of getting on with the program. In other words, you're
True.
taking prasad, and so either you know or not, you just think it's food. So
True.
we don't need them to accept. Just already by taking prasad, they're accepting.
Oh yeah, I mean,
To some
like
extent.
in India, like in West Bengal, if you go around distributing prasadam, only Hindus will accept. Muslims will not accept, and not all Hindus will accept because they fear that who knows what is inside the food. So there's also like a hesitation in accepting prasadam. And as you said, they accepting prasad already is like a statement of affirmation.
So now we'll see what these teachers, which were really
Frustrated, disappointed, scared,
well, also all this
terrified.
not always was not a pleasant experience for them. So you want to see what happened?
Griham anitamahuya prahradam daityayajakaah prasasyas lakshnaya vacha samprichahan samabhihi. When Hiranyakashipu's servants brought the boy Prahlada back to the Gurukula, place where the Brahmanas taught the boys, the priests of the demons, Sanda and Amarka, pacified him. With very mild voices and affectionate words, they inquired from him as follows. Sanda and Amarka, the priests of the demons, were eager to know from Prahlada Maharaj who the Vaishnavas were that came to instruct him in Krishna consciousness. Their purpose was to discover the names of these Vaishnavas. In the beginning, they did not threaten the boy because when threatened, he might not identify the real culprits. Therefore, they mildly and peacefully inquired as follows. So cool.
Can you read that?
There's a comment about, but in India, I met people in slums who said, now I follow Jehovah, as the people said they will build me toilet if I do.
Well, I mean, it seems that from the comment, she is against this type of approach.
Why the priests of toilet praying to?
Who are the priests of toilet? Sorry, priests of demons. What?
Priests of demons.
Sorry, that was a Freudian slip. You just said that the priests of the demons are praying. I'm just wondering who they're praying to, if they're demons. If earlier you had said, I think yesterday, there'd been a comment about
they're Shiva devotees.
Hiranyakashipu really not even, or these kind of people not even believing in something like a god type being. So I'm just wondering then, who are these priests praying to?
Because Shukracharya, see, the demons have guru, the guru of good demons is Shukracharya. And the demons, their natural lord is Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva is the lord of demons and ghosts and goblins and yakshas and all these kind of entities who are atheistic and those who are like lower species of existence. So they, most of the demons worship Mahadev, Lord Shiva.
Oh, we read 8.
Go back here. 8 or 9? 9. 8 is done.
9.
Vatsa praharada bhadram te satyam kataya mamrisha balan atikutastubhya esha buddhi viparyayaha. Dear son Prahlad, all peace and good fortune unto you. Kindly do not speak lies, just reply with the truth. These boys you see are not like you, for they do not speak in a deviant way. How have you learned these instructions? How has your intelligence been spoiled in this way? This seems so interesting to say, to don't speak in a deviant way. Because the demons just say, hey, this is me, material life, cool. That's what is straight for them. Deviant is to worship Krishna. Sattva guna being deviant. That's interesting. You want to read?
Yeah. Therefore, Prahlada Maharaj was still a boy, and therefore his teachers taught that if they pacified the little boy, he would immediately speak the truth, revealing the secret of how the Vaishnavas came there to teach him lessons in devotional service. It was surprising, of course, that in the same school, the other boys of the Daityas were not polluted. Only Prahlada Maharaj was supposedly polluted by the instructions of the Vaishnavas. The main duty of the teachers was to inquire who those Vaishnavas were that came to teach Prahlad and spoil his intelligence. Buddhi bheda parakrita uttha hute svato bhavat banyatam shrotu kamanam gurunam kulanandana. O best of your family, has this pollution of your intelligence been brought about by you or by the enemies? We are all your teachers and are very eager to hear about this. Please tell us the truth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prahlada Maharaj teachers were astonished that a small boy could speak such exalted Vaishnava philosophy. Therefore, they inquired about the Vaishnava who stealthily taught it to him, in order that these Vaishnavas might be arrested and killed in the presence of Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu. Okay, so let's see what Prahlada.
Why sometimes it's Prahlada Vacha and sometimes it says Prahlada Vacha?
Well, different names, different way of.
Prahlada had a brother, Ahallada.
Of the 3 brothers.
And one of them, Ahallada, became one of the Vaishnava Acharya saints. In Mantra Sampradaya, he wrote many compositions of bhajans.
So, Shri Prahlada Vacha Parasvaschetya Sadgraha Pumsan Yanmaya Yakritaha Dimohita Diyam Drishtas Asmai Bhagavate Namaha. Prahlada Maharaj replied, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinction of my friend and my enemy by deluding the intelligence of man. Indeed, I'm now actually experiencing this, although I previously heard of it from authoritative sources.
Authoritative sources.
So let's read the purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5:18, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmaniga Vyastini Shmichai Vasvapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. Pandita, those who are actually learned, the equipoised, advanced devotees who have full knowledge of everything, do not see any living entity as an enemy or friend. Instead, with broader vision, they see that everyone is part of Krishna, as confirmed by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Svarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. Every living entity, being part of the Supreme Lord, is meant to serve the Lord, just as every part of the body is meant to serve the whole body. As servants of the Supreme Lord, all living entities are one. But a Vaishnava, because of his nature of humility, addresses every other living entity as Prabhu. A Vaishnava sees other servants to be so advanced that he has so much to learn from them. Thus he accepts all other devotees of the Lord as Prabhu's masters. Although everyone is a servant of the Lord, one Vaishnava servant, because of humility, sees another servant as his master. Understanding of the master begins from understanding of the spiritual master. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasado, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Can we go down, Shirada? Sakshat Harit Vinat Samasta Shastra Uttastata Avyateva Sadbhihi Kintu Prabhoya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he's the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is a knowledge in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna. Spiritual master, servant of God, is engaged in the most confidential service of the Lord, namely delivering all the conditioned souls from the clutches of Maya, in which one thinks this person is my enemy and that one is my friend. Actually, the Supreme Personality of God is the friend of all living entities, and all living entities are eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. Oneness is possible through this understanding, not through artificially thinking that everyone of us is God or equal to God. The true understanding is that God is the Supreme Master and that all of us are servants of the Supreme Lord and are therefore on the same platform. This has already been taught to Prahlada Maharaj by spiritual master Narada, but Prahlad was nonetheless surprised by how a bewildered soul thinks one person is enemy and another is friend. As long as one adheres to the philosophy of duality, thinking one person a friend and another an enemy, it should be understood to be in the clutches of Maya. The Mayavadi philosopher who thinks that all living entities are God and that therefore one is also mistaken. No one is equal to God. The servant cannot be equal to the master. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, the master is one and the servants are also one. The distinction between the master and servant must continue, even in the liberated stage. In the conditioned stage, we think of some living being as our we think that some living beings are our friends, whereas others are enemy, and thus we are in duality. In the liberated stage, however, the conception is that God is the master, that all living entities, being servants of God, are one. I have a comment here that we see in terms of argumentation that Shanda Anamarka, the teacher, follows a certain line. Okay, there are enemies, there are friends. Tell us what is enemies, how they're influencing you. Can you go back to the verse? Can you go back to the verse? Translation of the verse. But actually, what we see as a technique, as an argumentation, discussion technique, debate technique, is not accepting those categories. Prahlada Maharaja is just not accepting. He's just refusing to accept that there are friends and enemies. It's like, okay, you're saying there are friends and enemies. I don't even accept your assumption. And it's very powerful because, in other words, the opponent is trying to impose a certain direction, a certain orientation, a certain, we could say, dictionary meaning to words. But they just say, look, this idea of friend and enemy is just created by the external energy. In other words, it's Maya. It's just illusion. And then it's almost sarcastic. He says, I'm now actually experiencing this, although I previously heard of it from authoritative sources. In other words, I heard about this nonsense, but now I see you're talking this nonsense. So you can see that he is immediately departing from the categorizations that the teachers are trying to impose. And in other words, it's very important that when we have a dialogue, especially debate, it's not necessarily that we have to follow the, the premise or the prejudice, the bias of our interlocutor. It's like somebody said, I give an example. So do you believe in God, in the existence of God or not? You don't have to go and say yes, no. You say, hey, wait a minute, you're talking about existence. What do you mean by existence? No, in other words, it's not just that because somebody asks a question, like here the teachers ask, who is this enemy? Oh, well, there is no enemy, or no, it's the concept itself of enemy is debunked or challenged. So you say, oh, do you believe in the existence of God? Well, what do you mean by existence? What exists? What doesn't exist? What do you mean? What is existence? What are the elements of existence that you accept? So, I'm just giving an example, impromptu, but this is very important. Not necessarily follow the premises or accept the premises. So, Prahlada Maharaja immediately say, I don't accept your premises. In fact, I heard about these crazy premises. Now I see it in action. Want to see what's the next verse? Let's see. Sayadano vratapum sam pashu-buddhi vibhidyate anya eshata tanyoham iti bheda gatasati. When the Supreme Personality of God is pleased with the living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a pandit and does not make distinctions between enemies, friends, and himself. Intelligence, he then thinks, every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another. He is telling them in a very eloquent, in a very sophisticated way that you're an animal. Pashu-buddhi. Somehow, Srila Prabhupada doesn't repeat that particular word, but he's just saying, look, if you have not pleased the Lord, and obviously you have not pleased the Lord because you're still trapped in this idea, you're still thinking like an animal. Pashu-buddhi. Pashu means animal, buddhi means like mentality, conception, intelligence. So, basically, in a very nice way, he's insulting his teachers. He's saying, you're not qualified. Obviously, the fact that you asked this question, you're not qualified, you're not pleased the Lord. And therefore you're not qualified because you're still blocked in this conception. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada. You can see that Srila Prabhupada gets really into this purports. He writes longer purports when there's something so juicy. Purport. Prahlada Maharaj, teachers and demoniac father, asked him how his intelligence had been polluted. Prahlada Maharaj said, as far as I'm concerned, my intelligence has not been polluted. Rather, by the grace of, this is all paraphrasing, right? Rather, by the grace of my spiritual master and by the grace of my Lord Krishna, I have now learned that no one is my enemy, no one is my friend. We are all actually eternal servants of Krishna. But under the influence of the external energy, we think that we are separately situated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our friends and enemies of one another. This mistaken idea has now been corrected. Therefore, unlike ordinary human beings, I no longer think that I'm God and that others are my friends and enemies. Now I'm rightly thinking that everyone is an eternal servant of God and that our duty is to serve the Supreme Master. For then we shall stand on the platform of oneness as servants. So you see how much Srila Prabhupada extracts and unpacks. Demons think of everyone as a friend or enemy. But Vaishnava says that since everyone is a servant of the Lord, everyone is on the same platform. Therefore, a Vaishnava treats other living entities neither as friends nor as enemies. These are very subtle concepts. And need to be very, very attentive. But instead, tries to spread Krishna consciousness, teaching everyone that we are all one as servants of the Supreme Lord, but are uselessly wasting our valuable times by creating nations, communities, and other groups of friends and enemies. Everyone should come to the platform of Krishna consciousness and thus feel oneness as a servant of the Lord. Although there are 8,400,000 species of life, a Vaishnava feels this oneness. This is Upanishad advice, ekatvam anupashyataha. The devotee should see the Supreme Personality of God to be situated in everyone's heart. He should also see every living entity as an eternal servant of the Lord. This vision is called ekatvam, oneness. Although there is a relation of master and servant, both master and servant are one because of the spiritual identity. This is also ekatvam. Thus, the conception of ekatvam for the Vaishnava is different from that of the Mayavadi. Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlada Maharaj how he had become antagonistic to his family. When a family member is killed by an enemy, all the members of the family of nature have been inimical to the murder. But Hiranyakashipu saw that Prahlada had become friendly with the murder. Therefore, he asked, who has created this kind of intelligence in you? Have you developed this consciousness by yourself? Since you are a small boy, someone must have induced you to think this way. Prahlada Maharaj wanted to reply that an attitude favorable toward Vishnu can develop only when the Lord is favorable. Sa yadanu vrataha. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the friend of everyone. Suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shanti richati. The Lord is never an enemy to any of the millions of living entities, but is always a friend to everyone. This is true understanding. If one thinks that the Lord is an enemy, his intelligence is pashu-buddhi, the intelligence of an animal. He falsely thinks I'm different from my enemy, and my enemy is different from me. The enemy has done this, and therefore my duty is to kill him. This misconception is described in this verse as Veda Gata Sati. The actual fact is that everyone is a servant of the Lord, as confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivhera Surupahoi Krishnera Nityadas. As servants of the Lord, we are one. There can be no questions of enmity or friendship. If one actually understands that every one of us is a servant of the Lord, where is the question of enemy or friend? Everyone should be friendly for the service of the Lord. Everyone should praise another's service to the Lord and not be proud of his own service. This is the way of Vaishnava thinking, Vaikuntha thinking. There may be rivalries and apparent competition between servants in performing service. But in the Vaikuntha planets, the service of another servant is appreciated, not condemned. This is Vaikuntha competition. There is no question of enmity between servants. Everyone should be allowed to render service to the Lord to the best of his ability. And everyone should appreciate the service of others. Such are the activities of Vaikuntha. Since everyone is a servant, everyone is on the same platform and is allowed to serve the Lord according to his ability. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto matasmridir gyanam aponam cha. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart, giving dictation according to the attitude of the servant. However, the Lord gives different dictation to the non-devotees and devotees. The non-devotees challenge the authority of the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Lord dictates in such a way that the non-devotees forget the Lord's service, life after life, and are punished by the laws of nature. But when a devotee very sincerely wants to render service to the Lord dictates in a different way. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10:10, Yesham satata yuktana vajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamamupayantite. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Everyone is actually a servant, not an enemy or friend. Everyone is working under different directions from the Lord, who directs each living entity according to his mentality. To say anything?
I really like those points that the spiritual mode is to be appreciative, is not to put ourselves as, because of insecurity, we tend to think I'm better, the others are less. And actually, Krishna is inspiring everybody in different ways. And like you said, some people may need power and position to do their service. Some don't. So there's not like somebody's more favored because of somebody's in power and position. So somebody's not favored because they're not in position. To do our specific service, to do our own purpose in life, to grow in the way that Krishna wants us to grow and become the best version of ourselves. Exactly our situation is, it's perfect for us. I was just looking at, I made a mukut piece, and another devotee in our group made another mukut piece. This mukut piece went right in the center of Madhava, and mine went in the back. And then I was looking and I said, oh, Madhava likes this. And I thought, next time I can also make something like this, like that. So being appreciative of others' service. Sorry. Yeah. So I made some mukut piece for Madhava yesterday. And this is a piece that one of my other friend made this one. And they put it on Madhava's head. And I made this one. And it's also on Madhava's head. It's a little bit not seen as much. This one I made. It goes in the like a little bit in the back, like it's on right side of Madhava. So I'm just thinking, oh, I should make like that. So I'll be able to improve my service if I can appreciate another person's service. But if I think, no, mine is better, like mine took a lot of time to do this, a lot of intricate work, and I burnt my hand 2-3 times while doing it. It's very delicate work. But if I don't appreciate this work that somebody else did, I won't be able to improve my service and offer something like that. This is of course much easier to make with the cloth, but and I'll show you how Madhava looks with that. Which one is this one? So you can see the green one. So that's more visible. And what I made is over here on his right side corner. You can see that white color coming up. So I'm just now thinking, I should prepare for the next ones and keep for the next time. And I got inspired by what the other person made, but because it was supposed to be my day, like I'm supposed to do the service. But then I suddenly surprised, I see another devotee's mukut piece and I'm like, Let me be appreciative. So it really helps to be appreciative, because then I can improve. And people, when we're appreciative, we always grow. And I know some people, I know some acquaintances, it's so hard for them to appreciate. So they're always a little bit stagnant. They always think, I know better. So they don't really learn more. They always think the way they are doing things, they think is better. And therefore, they're never really open to learn better ways. Okay. There is comments. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You need to read loud because not everybody reads. Read the comments.
Okay, it's not like, it's just saying, beautiful, lovely, just don't be attached to the outcome. You did with good intent, and that's all that matters. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, should we continue? So, Saishatma svaparetya buddhibhi duratya pramano nirupyate Mahyanti yadvartmanin vidavadino Parmadayo yeshudinati matim.
Which is at 14.
13. Shirade, 13. We finished the 12. Finished the 12, and now we are on the 13th. So Prahlada Maharaja continues, person will always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the super soul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted person as Lord Brahma were fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of God that was created this situation has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. Purpose. Prahlada Maharaja admitted frankly, my dear teachers, you wrongly think that Lord Vishnu is your enemy. But because he's favorable toward me, I understand that he's the friend of everyone. You may think that I've taken the side of your enemy, but factually he has bestowed a great favor upon me.
So sweet, huh? So sweet to see that Lord of Krishna.
So why don't you read this one?
Yatha brahmyatayo brahman swayam akshara sannidhau tata me vidyate chetas chakrapani yadrachaya. O Brahmanas, teachers, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus I have no independence. For iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, for all living entities to be attracted toward Krishna is natural, and therefore the Lord's real name is Krishna, meaning he who attracts everyone and everything. The typical examples of such attraction are found in Vrindavan, where everything and everyone is attracted by Krishna. The elderly persons like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, the friends like Sri Dama, Sudama, and other cowherd boys, the gopis like Srimati Radharani and her associates, and even the birds, beasts, cows, and calves are attracted. The flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted. The waves of the Yamuna are attracted, and the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, and all other living entities are attracted by Krishna. This is the natural situation of everything in Vrindavan. Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world, where no one is attracted by Krishna and everyone is attracted by Maya. This is the difference between the spiritual and material worlds. Hiranyakashipu, who was in the material world, was attracted by women and money, whereas Prahlada Maharaj, being in his natural position, was attracted by Krishna. In replying to Hiranyakashipu's question about why Prahlada Maharaj had a deviant view, Prahlad said that his view was not deviant, for the natural position of everyone is to be attracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu found this view deviant. Prahlad said, because of being unnaturally attracted by Krishna, Hiranyakashipu therefore needed purification. As soon as one is purified of material contamination, he is again attracted by Krishna. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. In the material world, everyone is contaminated by the dirt of sense gratification and is acting according to different designations, sometimes as a human being, sometimes a beast, sometimes a demigod or tree, and so on. One must be cleansed of all these designations. Then one will be naturally attracted to Krishna. The bhakti process purifies the living entity of all unnatural attractions. When one is purified, he is attracted by Krishna and begins to serve Krishna instead of serving Maya. This is his natural position. A devotee is attracted by Krishna, whereas a non-devotee, being contaminated by the dirt of material enjoyment, is not. This is confirmed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 7:28. Esham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. One must be freed from all sinful dirt of material existence. Everyone in this material world is contaminated by material desire. Unless one is free from all material desire, anyabhilashita shunyam, one cannot be attracted by Krishna. But sometimes we can channel our material desire by taking shelter of Krishna, like Prahlada Maharaja.
Yes, but of course, at the beginning, he didn't have a spontaneous attraction for Krishna. His attraction for Krishna from Narayan was that, oh, he can give me what I want.
Right.
So, because I believe the purport starts, with Vrindavan. First of all, Prahlada Maharaja say, look, it's a magnetic stone, an iron moves towards the magnet. It's like completely spontaneous. So, similar, Sri Prabhupada gets into Vrindavan, which he doesn't do very often. But he gets into Vrindavan, he says things very esoteric, like the fruits, flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted, the waves of the Yamuna are attracted, the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, all other living beings are attracted by Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada Samadhi is inspired by this verse to get to maybe he's quoting some other child, I don't know, but he's inspired to get into this very spontaneous thing. So, we can be attracted to Krishna in many ways, but sometimes it may just be because, Krishna can give me fulfill my desires. Then I go for Krishna. But that's really not personal attraction. It's not anya bhilashita shunya. It's not devoid of other aspiration. So like that.
All right.
But you're right, anybody can be attracted to Krishna in different ways. Even that story of the thief was attracted to Krishna for stealing the jewels, but then he became purified.
How come Narada?
From Narada. Huh?
And Narada is continuing. Shri Narada Uvacha Etavad Brahmano Yatva Virarama Mahamatihi Tam Sanni Bhartsya Kupita Sudhino Raja Sevakaha. The great Saint Narada Muni continued. The great soul Prahlada Maharaj became silent after saying this to his teachers Sanda and Amarka, the seminal sons of Shukracharya. These so-called Brahmanas then became angry at him because they were servants of Hiranyakashipu. They were very sorry, and to chastise Prahlada Maharaj, they spoke as follows. The word Shukra means semen. The sons of Shukracharya were Brahmanas by birth, right? But an actual Brahmana is one who possesses Brahminical qualities. The Brahmanas, Sanda and Amarka, being seminal sons of Shukracharya, did not actually possess real Brahminical qualification, for they engaged as servants of Hiranyakashipu. An actual Brahmana is very much satisfied to see anyone, not to speak of his disciple, become a devotee of Lord Krishna. Such Brahmanas are meant to satisfy the Supreme Master. A Brahmana is strictly prohibited from becoming a servant of anyone, for that is the business of dogs and Shudras. A dog must satisfy his master, but a Brahmana does not have to satisfy anyone. He simply meant to satisfy Krishna. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. That is the real qualification of a Brahmana. Because Sanda and Amarka were seminal Brahmanas and had become servants of such a master as Hiranyakashipu, they unnecessarily wanted to chastise Prahlada Maharaj.
So these are very stimulating points socially. I was thinking when I was reading that Srila Prabhupada makes this point many times. A Brahmana is strictly forbidden for becoming a servant of anyone else, for that is the business of dogs and Shudra. Especially they are becoming servants of Hiranyakashipu. Of course, teachers doesn't mean that teachers serve in a school, in a Gurukul, and they're paid. It's different. It's more the mentality. The Brahmana doesn't think, oh, I'm depending on this. The real Brahmana doesn't, I depend on the institution, so therefore I have to please this institution, otherwise I'll be lost. That's a Shudra. Shudra needs a master. It's a mentality. Without the master, Shudra is lost. And therefore you take shelter in Vaishyas, in Kshatriyas, or in Brahmanas, but they have to work for somebody else. Sometime back, one devotee I appreciate a lot as a person and as a preacher also, he made an interview with me, and I started saying basic things like Srila Prabhupada say, now the technologists are Shudra. And I just said that no, engineering is a school for Shudras and engineers are Shudras. And he became very much agitated. He very much agitated, and he couldn't let me speak anymore. And he became so afraid because in India, when you say Shudra, it's something very, very, very what you call very politically heavy because of this caste system and all that. But I tell you, Srila Prabhupada used the word Shudra in Vanipedia is more than 3,000 times. And the word Shudras, plural, 1,618 times. So he speaks about the Shudra almost 5,000 times. It's not something that he spoke occasionally once, like the word Ritvik. He doesn't use it much. It's in the Bhagavad. But Shudra, he constantly makes this point. And he constantly made this point that the technologist is a Shudra. He knows a craft and is getting paid to perform that craft. Maybe computer programming, okay? He knows computer programming is paid to do that. And then he's fired whenever the boss is not happy with him. So I was sad after this interview because I felt like, whoa, even this devotee, who's a very good preacher, is so somehow confused about this thing, so afraid. Oh, you cannot use the word Shudra. Although Srila Prabhupada used it almost 5,000 times, or at least more than 4,000 times. And I was a little sad. In fact, he refused to post that interview.
See, because in India, this whole thing, I come from Brahmana family, and somehow or another, there was a lot of misuse.
Yes.
There was so much caste misuse that, gee, this is Shudra, this is a Shudra person, don't go to their house, don't drink water in their house. There was so much that
I know
it's very sensitive.
I understand it's a sensitive topic, but my point is that we are here to educate people. We cannot escape from what our founder Acharya says. These are all opportunities, even the things which are controversial or delicate or sensitive. These are opportunities for us to explain that Kalo Shudra Sambhava, everybody's born as Shudra. It's a fact. Now, you may not like the word Shudra, but we are all born as Shudras. And Srila Prabhupada scientifically explained, if the higher castes don't have Garbhadan samskaras, then you cannot say I'm born as a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya. You're born as a Shudra. Because that's the process Shudras are born, and everybody's a Shudra. Of course, you can gain the position of Brahmana if you get spiritual knowledge and so on. Everybody can become a Brahmana. But anyway, I just wanted to emphasize that I felt sad that, first of all, the confusion that sometimes it is in ISKCON about these concepts, and then the fear. Can't say that an engineer is a Shudra. What is it? It's not a knowledge worker. It's not a Brahmana. It's not a Kshatriya. It's not a ruler or administrator. It's not a Vaishya, especially if he works. I mean, if he works for somebody else, so it's just a Shudra. And Srila Prabhupada was listening to a class the other day. Srila Prabhupada said, education, engineering or technological education, modern education is not education. He makes the point that he gives the example mystery. In Bengali, it's called mystery, like an electrician. He knows how to join two wires. And of course, we need electricians, we need carpenters, we need plumbers. There's nothing wrong. But an electrician, you cannot call it educated. So Srila Prabhupada say that's a craftsmanship. It's a skill. Okay, you put these wires together and you get electricity. But you cannot say it's an educated person. It's a very simple person. Maybe hardly he knows how to read or write or basics, but he just knows how to join wires. So it's the same principle. You may know how to, write code. It's just a skill. There's nothing else. There's no knowledge involved. So I just wanted to make this point because it's connected to this.
Yeah, sometimes we need to re-educate people. Just that we have to be sensitive of their cultural baggage.
Of course.
And deal with them carefully.
But my point is that we should not, as a movement, just escape in fear. At one point, we need to understand, yes, you have a problem with the word Shudra, but here we have to understand the facts of life.
That's true. Electricians, this is Sujata saying, electricians and plumbers, some of the best paid in this country now, skills in short supply.
Yes, no, besides that, yeah, if we talk economically,
and teachers
many times a teacher makes much less than a plumber or a carpenter. And it's a fact also in Italy. There was a famous man in Italy was saying, there won't be everybody studying. Everybody spends so many years studying, and there is no more plumbers, no more electricians, no more carpenters. And obviously, when something is in very short supply, there's a lot of demand, and obviously the prices go up.
I make same as supermarket shelf stacker as a teacher.
Yeah, this is a Kali Yuga. This is a Kali Yuga because it depends on the values of people. Depends on the market value of people. So, yeah, that's very sad. And in India is even worse in the sense in India, they have maybe my wife can explain better, they have this, what do you call when you try to get the post? In other words, if you have certain quota, but when you go for instance, you want to go a policeman, you want to be a police chief or something, you need to have certain grades, right? Right? But to be a teacher, you need much less grades. So it's like it's topsy-turvy.
And also, in India, it's like this. Shudras, like if somebody declares in their caste system, it's called SC/ST, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. Then you get like even if you have only 60%, you can get the same seat as a Brahmana who's a 90%. So if you are a lower class, if you declare that you're a lower class, you get more opportunities. Reservations, she says reservations.
Yeah. And it's interesting. That recently you have heard that the Supreme Court, because there was this thing of I'm not sure exactly what's called now. I forget how it's called, but they had some, we could say, some reserve posts for certain races in the best universities. And because they said, no, we need integration, and so people, even if they may not be qualified, they should be allowed. And so there are certain groups that they have some quota in top universities, and now that the Supreme Court wiped that out, they said no, it's just unconstitutional to do that. It's unconstitutional that because one is of a certain race, then some privilege, or even if he doesn't deserve. Anyway, it's a big issue, very sensitive. As soon as we talk about social groups, privileges, this and that, payment schemes, is very, very sensitive. Anyway, let's let's stop here, at least for me. Otherwise, we can go the whole. Okay, we have only 16 minutes left. You want to go next?
But this is done.
No, we didn't read the stick.
Oh my God, we're going to beat Prahlada.
So now the violence starts. Shani, why don't you read?
Aniyatam are vetram asmakam ayasashkaraha kulangarasya durbuddhes chaturto shodito dama. Oh, please bring me a stick. This Prahlad is damaging our name and fame. Because of his bad intelligence, he has become like a cinder in the dynasty of the demons. What's a cinder?
Cinder is a burning coal, something that can burn everything.
Now he needs to be treated by the fourth of the four kinds of political diplomacy. In political affairs, when a person disobediently agitates against the government, four principles are used to suppress him: legal orders, pacification, the offer of a post, or finally, weapons. When there is no other arguments, he is punished. In logic, this is called argumentum ad bacum. When the two
Baculum means
baculum.
stick. Argumentum ad baculum means the argument of the stick.
When the two seminal Brahmanas, Sanda and Anarkha, failed to extract from Prahlada Maharaj the cause for his having opinions different from those of his father, they called for a stick with which to chastise him to satisfy their master, Hiranyakashipu. Because Prahlad had become a devotee, they considered him to be contaminated by bad intelligence and to be the worst descendant in the family of demons. As it is said, where ignorance is bliss, it is folly to be wise. In a society or family in which everyone is a demon, for someone to become a Vaishnava is certainly folly. Thus, Prahlada Maharaj was charged with bad intelligence because he was among demons, including his teachers, who were supposedly Brahmanas. The members of our Krishna consciousness movement are in a position similar to that of Prahlada Maharaj. All over the world, 99% of the people are godless demons, and therefore our preaching of Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of Prahlada Maharaj, is always hampered by many impediments. Because of their fault of being devotees, the American boys who have sacrificed everything for preaching Krishna consciousness are charged with being members of the CIA. Moreover, seminal Brahmanas in India who say that one cannot become Brahmana only if born in a Brahmana family charge us with ruining the Hindu system of religion. Of course, the fact is that one becomes a Brahmana by qualification. Because we're training Europeans and Americans to become qualified and are awarding them Brahmanical status, we are being charged with destroying the Hindu religion. Nonetheless, confronting all kinds of difficulties, we must spread the Krishna consciousness movement with great determination, like that of Prahlada Maharaj. In spite of being the son of the demon Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad never feared the chastisement of the seminal Brahmana sons of the demoniac father.
Yes, I mean, see, Srila Prabhupada again make this analogy, says a member of Krishna conscious movement, the ISKCON devotees are in a situation because everybody's against them, he's saying, he's talking about India, and he say, the American boys will sacrifice everything for Krishna conscious, are charged with being member of the CIA. See, this was written in the beginning of the 70s, so there was a lot of tension in India. Now, of course, in India, there are hardly American devotees anyway, they're all Indian devotees generally, so this thing is not there anymore. But at the time was a very, very sensitive situation, very delicate situation, very dangerous situation. At one point, especially when Srila Prabhupada was building the Juhu temple, he was depending 100% on the devotees from the West. Everybody was European, Canadian, or American, and maybe just one person was Indian, the whole thing, and so Srila Prabhupada was in real anxiety to get the visas for the devotees. And there were so many false accusations. These are spies from America and this and that. In fact, when Srila Prabhupada met, he was meeting different politicians, different member of parliament, that this was a point that he was making, allowed these boys and girls to stay in India. And it was not just because, okay, he wanted to be in India, because the temples were run by Americans, Canadians, and Europeans. The temples would close down. The deity worship would close down. If you want to know more, there is this book by Giriraj Maharaj, relatively recent book, and it's entitled "I Will Build You a Temple," meaning Srila Prabhupada praying to Radha Rasa Bihari, saying, "I will build you a temple." And the whole book is centered on this fight that Srila Prabhupada had. First with the guy who wanted to steal the money of the land, and then, and finally, low battery. She had a low battery. Finally, so it was a major thing. In fact, when Srila Prabhupada met Indira Gandhi, I believe it was 75, he had a list of 10 things he wanted to speak with Indira Gandhi, some radical changes in the whole structure of government. But because she was disturbed, there were some threats to her life. She said, "Sorry, Swamiji, we can't talk very much." She was disturbed in mind. But Srila Prabhupada made just one point: please give 500 devotees visas, permanent visas. And I'm just saying, Srila Prabhupada, when he's writing these purports, he's not sitting in a cave, he's sitting on a tree, sitting on a mountain. He's living and fighting. So he might write this purport at 2:00 in the morning, and then at 9:00 is answering letters from Tamakrishna Maharaj, from Giriraj, at the time Brahmachari, that this is happening, that is happening, the corporation of Mumbai is doing this, the corporation of Mumbai is doing that. And so we can see the Acharya in the middle of this fight. What's that?
Can I understand the suspicion India had only got rid of British 30 years prior?
And then Srila Prabhupada brings up another enemies. He say, moreover, means besides all these CIA things, the seminal Brahmanas in India who say that one can become a Brahmana only if born in a Brahmana family, charge us with ruining the Hindu system of religion. In other words, say this Swami Bhaktivedanta, this Prabhupada is destroying Hinduism because it's destroying the caste system. And the whole identity was built on this caste system. They are superior, they're born as Brahmana, and you cannot become a Brahmana. That's what you're born a Brahmana, you cannot become a Brahmana if you're not born as a Brahmana. And this, of course, Srila Prabhupada, following his spiritual master, no, everybody can be a Brahmana. Brahmana means Brahman, everybody can learn about Krishna. And everybody can adopt a lifestyle of a Brahmana. So, and the same people, they try to kill Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So when Srila Prabhupada is saying, it's like devotees are, in some cases, is often under, not only under scrutiny, but under a lot of attacks. It's a fact. And in this year, in the 70s, while in India there were this problem, in America they were charging that it's a cult, it's a not authorized sect, where they say sect, it's a cult, and devotees were going in jail. The devotees went in jail because they, you're kidnapping people, or you're being brainwashed, and there was a big, this came a little later. big court case on brainwashing. Finally, the judge decided, no, this is a bona fide religion, which is not brainwashing, unless we leave freedom of religion. We cannot just leave freedom of religion for the religions we like. We need to give freedom of religion for everybody. There's some comment? This is why Jainism and Buddhism was successful at one point, revolting against Hindu, Brahmin, and caste system. It's a fact. It's a fact because especially people were cut off from elitism. That means all the Shudras. At one point, the Brahmanas, this is a different history, but at one point, the Brahmanas declared that everybody who was not a Brahmana was a Shudra. And so all the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Kayastas, who were the tax collectors and so on, they said they are all Shudras. That's why also this Ramananda Roy was considered a Shudra. Because these Brahmana people just say either a Brahmana or a Shudra. That's all. You have nothing else. So yes, so there are some egalitarian religions, and like Buddhism, like Christianity, or even Islam. Everybody can become Muslim. Everybody can become Christian. So definitely they became very, very, very popular. And Srila Prabhupada even he said it in Rome actually. He said that he said more than once. He said that the reason that India and Pakistan split, the partition, the fault, the responsibility was because of these Brahmanas. Mm-hmm. Because these Brahmanas created so much, they hated the Shudras. The Shudras became Muslims. And then obviously the Muslims felt, we don't want to be with these Indians. We don't want to be with Hindustan. And so they created Pakistan and Bangladesh. At one point, Bangladesh was a country, East Pakistan, West Pakistan. Then they fought, they became two countries. But Srila Prabhupada said, it's because of the Brahmanas. It's because of the Brahmanas, because they treated the lower people so bad. He gives even an example that the Shudra that who pass the street, he should shout, I'm a Shudra, I'm a Shudra, I'm a Shudra. So the Brahmana close the door, otherwise the Shudra looks at the rice, is considered contaminated.
And the irony is that now those who are Brahmanas, all their children are engineers in the
Yeah, it's like and Srila Prabhupada said, and the main thing was that the Brahmanas were not trying to elevate people. They were not trying to, okay, you might be born a Shudra, maybe you're a little, maybe you're a little bit illiterate, maybe you don't know much. Okay, I'll teach you. That's the role of the Brahmanas, the teacher society. So I'll teach you how to write, I'll teach you some verses, I'll teach you some Krishna consciousness, some religion, some dharma. I'll teach you a story of the Ramayana. That's their job, but they didn't do the job, and so and Sri Prabhupada was saying, these Muslims, they didn't come from outside. These are our people. They were all Hindus, but because of the Brahmanas that they neglected, and they not only neglected, but created really like they kind of were disgusted. Oh, you're low class. Get out of here. I don't want to see you. Then there's the story of the Ramanuja's wife, right? They were taking well water. I mean, it's the same well, okay? It's the same water. But because some of the water from the bucket of the other lady fell into the bucket of the wife of Ramanuja, she felt, oh my God, now my water is contaminated. The same water, just because the bucket, what was the caste of the other lady? Some lower caste, some, maybe farmer or something, nothing sinful. It just, they were not a Brahmana. So because from the water fell a few drops in, how can you do that? This is a great offense. Now I have to change the water. So imagine living in such a thing. Then you see the Muslim. Finally, I can become a Muslim. No problem. There's no caste. You're a Muslim. Of course, there are rulers and this and that. But I'm a Muslim. I'm a Christian. Finally, these are egalitarian. But Hinduism, for many centuries, became elitist. Okay, there are some comments. Let's see. class is powerful, wanting to hold on to power and exploit. Of course, privilege. So not true brahmanas. This is why it's been so easy to convert swathes in India to Christianity. If people like my family had not left India in the 30s, I wonder how different the outcome would have been for my life today. We were able to change our lives drastically. In what sense you were able to change your lives? In what sense?
Well, my grandfather was a farm laborer. So we wouldn't have been considered to be, high up in anything. And there was definitely no access to education. But he went to East Africa at the age of 12. It was still part of the, British Empire. And there again, sort of manual labor, but was able to work up. And then my father came to the UK. And, I think my grandmother, I became a teacher partly because, my grandmother was illiterate. She wasn't able to have an education. And now all three of us sisters, we are all in education. We've been heavily inspired by seeing the background that our family came from and seeing, the power that education can have, the power that if you give women a chance, what a difference it makes. But I often wonder if my family had stayed in India, what my life would have been like. I mean, I don't even know if I would have been born, but just how different it would have been. Because I've been to India, I've spent a lot of time in India, I've done a lot of work out in India, a lot of volunteering and stuff. And whilst things are changing, there's still so much division there. It's shocking. And when you leave that situation and you go into a different context and you're given different opportunities, my grandfather, a labourer on a farm, has grandchildren now who are doctors, dentists, pharmacists, who are teachers, head teachers, who are out there doing things in the world, which we may not have been given the chance if we'd stayed in India.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing this autobiographical background. And so our time is up for the morning. We can finish on this, I believe, very stimulating points.
I feel like what she just shared is also Krishna. Like Krishna, it's not about nationality. When Srila Prabhupada wanted to fight for the nation, he was into freedom fight and everything. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was peaceful and he was thinking about spreading Krishna consciousness. And then when he said, are you not agitated that we are under British rule? And as long as we are under the British rule, how can we be anything? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was like, huh?
But he said the message of Lord Chaitanya is so important, so urgent that cannot wait for any material arrangement.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that if we become like Prahlada Maharaja is belonging in a demoniac family, but he's a devotee. So it's not about nationality, right? It's not like about I'm Indian or I'm American. Those are not the point at all. It's to go beyond that. And if Krishna has a better plan for Sujata's family in the UK, Krishna arranged for her to be there. So he always gives us what's best for us, for our furthering of our purpose in life. I really like that about Krishna consciousness.
So thank you very much. Again, this program is Krishna willing from Monday to Friday. So we have 3 more days. Hare Krishna. Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Hare Krishna.